I discovered some important new facts about the unconscious in psychic life. People did not believe in my facts and thought my theories unsavory.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another session of Kulit. I'm Emilie Oehlers, your friendly host, and today I'm with Samantha Scott-Blackhall, director of Freud's last session. As you can see, we also have Freud and C.S. Lewis in session with us. Well, everyone knows who Freud is, and if you don't, wiki him. He's a well-known psychoanalyst. And C.S. Lewis I know from being the author of one of my favorite book series, The Narnia Chronicles. And he also has my birthday, so even more props to him. How does he fit in with Freud? Why are they having a session together?
Well, the play itself, it's set in 1939, just when the war hits England. And chronicled in Freud's biography is a session that happens between Freud and a young Oxford don. It is not stated that it is C.S. Lewis, however, people speculate that it could have been. So the smart playwright, has put these two characters together and kind of mixed it together to see what happens. And in the play, there's a lot of fact about these two characters. There's a lot of stuff taken directly from their biographies. And re-quoted in the play. So, I mean, we've had to get really close to the real people to understand where the motivation for those lines have come from. Yeah.
So was it a different kind of work for you then? Since it was based?
It was. Yeah. I mean, I haven't done a biopic like this before, and I mean, you still, when you get a play, you research the background of it, maybe the period or whatever. But here, very specifically, the characters. So, I mean, we just opened a world of interesting thoughts and ideas from these two characters. I mean, their lives were rich, and you know, what they achieved, it's overwhelming.
Why are they talking? What does C.S. Lewis, what does he have?
Well, I mean, that's the interesting part of this play, and I think a lot of interest comes from the fact that these two characters, people, real life, talk about the existence of God.
When you've completely given up yourself to his personality, you will then, for the first time in your life, be developing into a real person. He made the whole world. He invented, as an author invents characters in a book, all the different men that you and I were intended to be. Our real selves are, so to speak, all waiting for us in him.
Whether he existed, whether the idea of a higher power exists, and they both kind of hold their argument very well. Freud being a full-on atheist, and Lewis being a converted Christian. Because what people don't know about Lewis is that he was an atheist up to 31. Until he was 31, and a very, very adamant atheist at that. But his mind started being open to this idea of God, and there's, in his biography, a very beautiful, kind of bittersweet moment where he says, I knelt at my bed and decided to pray, and he said that was the saddest moment of his life, because he had lived his life up to that age denying the existence of God, so his life was just going to change. So it was really in conflict with what he had believed most of his life. So anyway, Freud brings up the fact that he was an atheist. Why did he change his mind?
Oh, and does he talk about his mother as well as Freud would, or?
They do. They do. The sort of father and mother characters come up in a psychoanalyst kind of way, and sort of specifically talking about when Freud and Lewis were younger and sort of why their hatred towards their fathers, that kind of thing.
Is the play set up as a session then? Like, are they just, across the table, or is that couch? Or,
yeah. We're setting up the Freud study. So, I mean, there is a bit of liberty taken. We can't totally replicate the study, but it's set in the study. There's a lot of there's a lot of movement within the study. It's not just sit down and talk. And I think for me, it's interesting to consider the body language, the proximity, how they react, where they sit in the space, to be part of a dialogue as well.
I've noticed profiling Sam's work in my secret investigations before this interview that you've worked a lot with men. I remember just experiment a lot of the flies, and they've been primarily male cast. So is this why it is for you? Because of
No.
Totally
But
right.
that's very interesting. No, it wasn't. But it is a script-based play that discusses really meaty themes, and that for me has always been kind of close to my heart. Really kind of going into depth about life, human behavior, God. I mean, Agnes and God was something I did many years ago.
Really?
Yeah, and the debate about it I find very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that someone can change religion or go to religion in their 30s as well. So I'm quite intrigued because
Yes.
usually one charts one's path quite early in life religiously, or one leaves, but you don't hear about someone going to religion later.
And the play challenges that idea because of Lewis's transformation. And in many ways, Freud, we're not sure whether Freud is actually looking for an answer because the play is set towards the end of his life, 3 weeks before he does take his own life. So, you wonder whether this idea had ever crossed his mind, whether he wanted to introduce God into his life at a later stage or not. But the play kind of discusses the two sides of that story.
How did you find a Freud in Singapore?
Well, I
Like 2012.
considered, I mean, I must be honest, I kind of considered all the more actors in Singapore and thought, who's going to fit this profile best? I approached Matt Gray and Daniel York at the same time and kind of crossed my fingers that they could do it. Because, you have your the people you feel are going to fit the role, and they said yes. So, I just thought that's a really good start, and I didn't kind of look back. Well, I mean, first of all, you've got to consider whether the actors fit physically the part. With this play, it was more important because Freud and Lewis are real people. So you can't get someone who's physically so far away.
Yes.
The second thing is whether they can handle the accent of that character.
Right. So it's an hour long, an hour 15 minutes?
It's an hour 15 minutes long, and then we do a sort of post-show discussion with the audience after that, so they can go, I didn't get it, or I really got it, or whatever they want to do.
Why are you wearing
What's the color of the floor like that?
do you get questions like that?
Yeah.
So what else are you working on after this?
After this, well, last year I was working on a show called Made in Singapore, Blood Not Included, which was a group of us directors, Peter Sao, Oliver Chong, Farah Jaina, and myself, worked on this piece about our own ancestries, kind of trace back our ancestries and put it into
It was a read.
a script.
Yeah,
It was a read,
yeah.
So we're sort of considering whether we pick it up next year and turn it into the play version. So that's kind of on the cards. I also last year directed a mega magic show called Vision, which might come back again next year as well. So I mean, there's things on the cards, but this one's close to my heart at the moment.
So that's April 12th to 15th. 11th.
We opened up a new show.
Oh, I see. April 11th to 15th, and you might open up another new show. So like
We may,
as
yes.
I said, let me know.
Yes.
So thanks so much. This is Samantha Scott-Blackhall, director of Freud's Last Session at the studios at the Esplanade. This is Urban Kulit. I'm Emilie Oehlers. See you soon.